Hoggled, prices are skyrocketing, shelves are getting emptier, and most folks have no idea what's heading their way. Across the country, some of the most essential grocery staples are quietly disappearing from stores, and by the time the alarms go off, it could already be too late. Whether it's due to supply chain issues, rising demand, or other unexpected shortages, these aren't just random items. We're talking about the everyday foods you rely on, the ones you'll wish you had stocked up on before they vanish completely. By May 31st, these 10 critical foods will likely be much harder to find. It's not about luxury treats or specialty items. These are the basics, the things your family eats every week. If you're prepping meals, trying to save money, or just want to stay ahead of the madness, knowing what's disappearing is the edge you need. You'll thank yourself later for acting now, because ignoring these warnings could leave you regretting it sooner than you think. Stick around as we reveal the 10 must-have foods flying off store shelves faster than anyone expected. Trust me, you don't want to wait until it's too late. Number 10. Butter. If you bake, cook, or prep for emergencies, butter is a must-have. While it's still on shelves now, supply chain issues are becoming clear. By May 31st, butter could be one of those items you wish you'd stocked up on. Here's why. Recent price drips are misleading. They're due to slower exports, not increased production. Butter production depends on unpredictable factors like the spring flush, when cows produce more milk. This year, a colder March delayed spring, lowering butterfat levels in milk. Since it takes 21 pounds of milk to make just 1 pound of butter, less butterfat means less butter overall. Adding to the problem, butter production is energy intensive, relying on propane. Rural areas in the Midwest are especially vulnerable to fuel price spikes, which could drive butter prices up even more. For shoppers and preppers, the key is not just buying butter, but storing it carefully. Salted butter lasts longer than unsalted, up to 2 years in the freezer, if vacuum sealed at 10 DGF. You can also make clarified butter, or ghee, which is shelf-stable for up to a year and great for cooking when oil is scarce. Packaging is another issue. Aluminum foil, commonly used for butter wraps, is in short supply, with some brands switching to parchment paper, which shortens freezer life and exposes butter to odors. Big stores like Costco are already limiting sales to 2 multi-packs per customer, often a sign of an upcoming shortage. Bakeries are also locking in bulk orders for fall, increasing competition. By Memorial Day, butter demand spikes for seasonal favorites like corn on the cob and holiday baking, often clearing out supplies. Waiting too long could leave you with higher prices or empty shelves. Now's the time to stock up. Split bulk packs with friends or make ghee. Don't wait until the shortage hits. Act now to ensure you're prepared. 9. Fresh chicken breasts are disappearing. Stock up now. Fresh chicken breasts could soon vanish from your grocery store shelves. By grilling season, you might wish you had stocked up. Chicken has long been the go-to, budget-friendly protein. Lean, affordable, and easy to cook. But now it's becoming a hot commodity. Here's why. The chicken industry is under pressure from farm disruptions to rising feed costs. Chickens go from hatch to market in just 47 days, so when something goes wrong, the impact is immediate. For example, a fire at Tyson's hatchery in March wiped out a week's worth of chicks, disrupting the supply chain. Flooding in the Midwest this spring pushed corn prices up 12%. Since corn makes up 70% of chicken feed, farmers are forced to downsize flocks or speed up processing, shrinking supply. Wholesale chicken prices are already at their highest since the 2022 bird flu crisis. Retailers are responding by shifting focus. You're seeing more drumsticks, thighs, and wings on shelves because breast meat is in shorter supply. Even packaging is an issue. Limited plastic trays mean bulk bag packs, making freezing and portioning harder. Pro tip: freeze raw chicken breasts properly to maintain quality for up to a year. Wrap them tightly to avoid freezer burn or marinate ahead of time to save effort later. You can also cook and shred the meat for canning or use the bones for homemade stock. And Costco's famous rotisserie chickens? If the shortage worsens, they may disappear or get more expensive. Another red flag. Bottom line, if chicken breasts are a household staple, don't wait. Stock up now before grilling season, or you'll risk paying premium prices. Oatmeal is disappearing, and here's why you need it now. Oatmeal might not seem like a panic buy, but it's quietly disappearing from store shelves. Savvy shoppers are grabbing this budget-friendly, shelf-stable superfood, and soon you could miss out. Here's why oatmeal should be on your must-have list. First, the numbers don't lie. Canada, the biggest oats supplier for U.S. brands, has faced relentless droughts, slashing yields for 2 years straight. Domestic oat stocks are also at a 10-year low. The oat milk craze isn't helping either. Beverage companies are buying raw oats faster than food processors can keep up, leaving less for store shelves. Oats are more than just a pantry staple. They're quick to cook, packed with heart-healthy fiber, and versatile. Rolled oats cook in under 5 minutes, making them perfect for power outages or busy mornings. Steel-cut oats take longer to cook, and instant packets? They're pricier and loaded with sugar. Save money by buying plain rolled oats and creating your own flavors. Proper storage is key. Ditch those cardboard containers that attract pests. Use Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers or vacuum-sealed jars for long-term storage. Done right, oats can last over 10 years. And with some brands switching to less durable aluminum packaging, proper storage has become even more important. Oats aren't just for breakfast. Grind them into flour for gluten-free baking, mix with peanut butter for energy snacks, or use them to stretch meat in recipes like burgers or meatloaf. You can even sprout oats for microgreens. Don't forget to stock up on mix-ins like raisins or cinnamon, which could also vanish. The oat supply chain is fragile. Equipment failures, flooding, or trade disputes could disrupt it at any time. Bottom line, oatmeal might be underrated, but it's essential. Stock up before it's gone. Evan, dried beans are running out. Secure yours now. Dried beans might not seem like a must-have food, but they're vanishing quicker than you'd expect. Why? Because they're one of the smartest staples you can add to your pantry. Packed with protein, fiber, and an insanely long shelf life, beans are a survival essential. If you rely on them for meatless meals, emergency rations, or budget-friendly cooking, you'll regret not stocking up now. Here's what's happening. Droughts are hammering producers in the U.S. and Mexico, shrinking black bean exports by 14%. Meanwhile, Western farmers are planting less and choosing higher profit crops like almonds or fruit. Throw in a spike in freight costs and increasing government contracts for navy beans, and the supply bottleneck is getting real. Pinto beans. They're the hottest item on shelves right now, vanishing as fast as toilet paper during a panic buy. A single pound of dried beans can transform into 6 cups of hearty food for just a couple of dollars. Pair that with rice and you've got complete protein, making it one of the most filling and versatile meals out there. But don't make rookie mistakes when storing them long-term. Transfer beans out of flimsy store bags and into food-grade buckets with Mylar liners and oxygen absorbers. Stored properly, they'll last up to 30 years. Small household? Try vacuum sealing them in jars for easier handling. And here's a quick tip to prevent pests. Freeze them for 72 hours before storage to kill weevil larvae. Beans are more than just soup. Puree white beans for creamy sauces, mash them into dips, or turn the leftover cooking water into plant fertilizer. Shelves are thinning fast. Stock up now, store them correctly, and secure one of the most dependable, adaptable foods for your pantry. Number 6. Baking yeast is disappearing fast. Here's why you need to act now. Baking yeast is one of those tiny pantry items that disappears almost instantly in times of crisis. Remember 2020? It was one of the first things to vanish, and the same thing is happening again. If you love making fresh bread, homemade pizza, or any baked goods, now's the time to stock up before it's too late. Unlike some foods, yeast production is slow and delicate. These factories rely on living organisms that need sterile environments to thrive. Even a short equipment delay or cleaning shutdown can create weeks of shortages in stores. And because yeast is alive, heat, air, or damaged packaging can leave you with inactive product that won't rise dough. Here's how you can store it like a pro. Freeze vacuum-sealed yeast, and it can last over 5 years. For smaller quantities, divide it into airtight jars with oxygen absorbers to maintain freshness. Keep in mind that instant yeast works faster than active dry, making it perfect for quick meals, but it's more sensitive to improper storage. Don't forget, yeast needs sugar to work its magic. Rising sugar prices could affect how well your stash performs, so it's smart to stock sugar and flour alongside your yeast. And if you think sourdough is a backup plan, be prepared. It requires regular feeding and practice. Dehydrating starter flakes is an option, but it's not a quick fix if you're inexperienced. Watch out for competing demands, too. Breweries and commercial bakeries are snapping up supplies for summer festivals, weddings, and events. If you see yeast on shelves now, grab it. Test older yeast before tossing by proofing it in water with sugar. Got an emergency? You can even cultivate wild yeast from unfiltered beer sediment or fruit skins, though it's slow and tricky. Don't wait until it's gone. When store-bought bread isn't an option, yeast can be the difference between being prepared and panicking. Stock up now while it's still affordable. 5. Eggs are disappearing faster than you think. Here's why. Eggs are flying off the shelves, and it's not just because of high prices. The real problem runs much deeper. Since 2022, over 166 million birds have been culled due to avian flu. With the virus now spreading through wild duck populations, experts warn future outbreaks are inevitable. Every hen lost means about 300 fewer eggs per year. When culling strikes, the impact hits hard and fast. That's not all. McDonald's increasing their liquid egg orders for breakfast menus sends massive ripples through the supply chain, pulling thousands of eggs out of local stores. And with California's new animal welfare laws reducing production capacity, older barns are shutting down instead of upgrading. Wholesale prices for eggs still sit almost 3 times higher than the long-term average, and specialty eggs, like vitamin-fortified or cage-free, are among the first to vanish. Even transporting eggs is tricky. Refrigeration failures during shipping can spoil full truckloads in an instant. For rural areas, where delivery schedules are limited, missing a restock can leave stores empty for days. The good news? There are ways to stretch your supply. Coating eggs with mineral oil can keep them fresh on your counter for 2 extra weeks. Freeze-dry scrambled eggs for long-term storage, or invest in powdered eggs, which last up to 5 years sealed. Don't overlook alternatives like duck eggs, available at Asian markets, which are richer and perfect for baking. But act fast. Grocery chains are quietly rationing, especially as Memorial Day's demand for picnic and deviled eggs approaches. With prices expected to stay volatile for months, your current dozen might be the cheapest you'll see in a while. Stock up, preserve smartly, and secure this essential protein before it's too late. 4. Cheddar cheese is disappearing. Here's why you should grab it now. Cheddar cheese is flying off shelves faster than you'd think, and if it's a regular on your shopping list, get ready for shortages. Prices are already climbing, and it's not just inflation. Cheddar operates in its own market with unique challenges, and right now, they're hitting hard. Did you know it takes 9 pounds of milk to make just 1 pound of cheddar? When feed prices spike due to droughts, those costs are passed down to cheese producers. Many U.S. dairy farmers are still recovering from earlier losses, and national cheese inventories are down by 8%. That small percentage matters because cheese production is so centralized. If a single processing plant pauses for maintenance or shortages, the impact trickles directly into your store aisle. You might have noticed the signs already. Fewer options in shredded cheese, smaller blocks of specialty cheddar, or more processed substitutes in recipes. Restaurants are switching to cheaper alternatives too, draining retail shelves even faster, if fast food chains or schools start buying up bulk supplies. Want cheddar to last? Buy vacuum-sealed blocks. They store in the fridge for up to 8 months. Waxed cheeses, if kept cool and dry, stay good for over 2 years. Smoked cheddar lasts even longer due to its natural mold resistance. And don't toss moldy cheese, just scrape off the mold or rind. Those white specks aren't rot, they're calcium crystals that signal great aging. Avoid pre-shredded cheese if you can. It's coated with anti-caking agents that add weight, not value. Buy in blocks, shred it yourself, and freeze it properly. And here's a pro tip. Save your cheese rinds. Use them to flavor soups and stews for maximum use. Summer's grilling season is just around the corner, and cheddar demand will surge for burgers, cookouts, and festivals. The shelves might look fine now, but it won't last. Grab your cheddar today before supplies run out or prices skyrocket. 3. Ground beef is disappearing, and here's why you must stock up now. Ground beef is becoming harder to find. And the bad news is it's only going to get worse. This isn't just about rising prices, it's a deepening crisis in cattle production that's been quietly building for years. If you think you can wait until Memorial Day to stock your freezer, think again. You might be facing empty shelves or paying double for the same pack of meat. Here's the deal. The U.S. cattle herd is at its smallest in over a decade. Droughts, skyrocketing feed costs, and economic pressures have forced ranchers to cull herds early, leaving fewer calves to sustain supply. USDA forecasts keep dropping, and feedlot placements are down by over 10%, meaning fewer cattle now and way less beef in stores by summer. Ground beef in particular is taking a hit. It relies on trimmings from premium cuts like steaks and roasts. But when steak sales slow, those trimmings disappear too. And don't forget wholesale buyers like burger chains. They're locking in contracts early, leaving stores scrambling for the leftovers. Making things worse, meatpacking infrastructure is under immense strain. Plants are battling labor shortages, equipment failures, and even rolling blackouts. A single shutdown can mean spoiled meat and major gaps in the meat section. If you've noticed ground beef shifting from trays to vacuum-sealed tubes, it's because stores are trying to stretch their supply. Now's the time to act. Ground beef freezes well, so divide it into patties or crumbles, wrap it tightly, and store it for later. Or take it further by pressure canning it for a shelf-stable option that lasts over 5 years. Want to stretch your supply? Mix it with oats, lentils, or soy protein to boost calories and keep the flavor. Even the military uses this trick for protein-packed meals. If you grind at home, order spare parts for your grinder now because steel shortages are causing delays. And don't underestimate the importance of food safety. Contamination risks like E. coli can shut down plants and clear shelves instantly. With grilling season around the corner, ground beef is about to become a hot commodity. Save yourself the stress and grab what you can now before it's gone. I'm sure we're all hoping for a better future. But what if you hadn't drunk your peanut butter in 2017? But what if I told you it's quietly disappearing? That's right. This protein-packed, shelf-stable favorite is being hit with a perfect storm of disruptions. And if you rely on it for snacks, meal stretching, or emergency prep, now's the time to grab extra jars before prices spike or shelves empty. Here's what's going on. Recent shortages aren't from a lack of peanuts, but from something even simpler, a packaging crisis. Earlier this year, major manufacturers faced delays from a lack of jars and caps. One Midwest plant was forced to shut down for days because they simply didn't have the containers to ship their product. Even mega retailers like Costco had to pause online peanut butter sales for the same reason. And while this year's peanut harvest avoided severe aflatoxin dangers, testing delays held up shipments for weeks. Then there's the cost of peanut oil. With cooking oil prices climbing worldwide, smaller production runs are hitting specialty and natural peanut butter brands the hardest. It may surprise you, but a single jar of peanut butter holds around 3,000 calories, making it a gold mine for long-term storage. It doesn't need refrigeration, has a long shelf life, and works for everything from sandwiches to emergency meal prep. That's why FEMA and other agencies bulk buy ahead of hurricane season, starting in June. By mid-May, shelves will already feel the strain. Want to stay ahead? Stock up now and think smarter about storage. Keep natural peanut butter flipped upside down to prevent that stubborn oil separation. Better yet, freeze jars for up to 2 years without losing flavor. Powdered peanut butter is another great option if freezer space is tight, but remember, it pulls from the same peanut supply. And don't fall for alternatives like almond or sunflower butter during shortages, as they share similar processing and supply chains, so shortages ripple through all nut-based spreads. Save time and frustration by grabbing what you need today. Once next season's back-to-school promotions start, prices will soar and stock will vanish. 1. Table salt is vanishing, and you won't believe why. Salt. It's so common we barely think about it until it's gone. This cheap, essential pantry staple supports everything from cooking to food preservation, and unlike most foods, it never expires. But here's the kicker. Quiet disruptions might leave shelves empty sooner than you expect. If you're serious about prepping, now's the time to stock up before the real shortages hit. Here's the deal. Salt doesn't go bad as long as it's stored properly, but the supply doesn't magically refill itself. Rock salt, commonly used for food production, has to compete with de-icing in livestock industries. And when harsh winters drag on, priority shifts to road safety, leaving food-grade salt in second place. Delays are already showing in the Midwest and Northeast. Transportation is another issue. Salt is heavy and bulky, making it costly and slow to move. Rising diesel prices and tighter trucking regulations are pushing up costs, especially for specialty salts like kosher or canning-grade varieties. And guess what? Those are the first to sell out come canning season. Storing salt is about more than tossing it in your pantry. Those flimsy cardboard canisters, they warp in humidity. Transfer your salt into glass jars or airtight bags and toss in some rice or a silica pack to keep it dry. Planning bulk storage? Avoid stacking bags too high. They crush and split. Salt's value extends far beyond seasoning. It preserves meat, aids fermentation, cleans cast iron, and even makes homemade rehydration solutions. But don't be fooled by gimmicks like pink Himalayan or fancy sea salts. For prepping purposes, plain bulk salt is unbeatable. With canners ramping up for spring and home baking surging, salt is already in high demand. Add to that packaging delays and aluminum shortages for those little canister seals, you've got a brewing shortage. Act now. Salt is still affordable, but it could soon vanish with the rush. A small investment today could save your food plan tomorrow.